kind of bring y'all along the journey of whatever I am casually obsessed with at the moment. Hear books that suck and hear books that are amazing. Why is the sun up now? Sometimes you just want to have a good time, you know? Like, not everything has to be a classic to be prestigious enough to be read. There's definitely a spicy side to these books, but they are beautiful, gotta say. Just being honest. Well, I can read wherever I want as long as my back cooperates. I'm intimidated. And then I put it in airplane mode so they can't take it away from me. I'll read it first before you borrow it. Are all books like this? And like, I just spiraled from there. Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Casual. For those who are new here, we are so glad to have you here with us today. We are back in yet another location. I recently set up a kind of a reading nook setup, a different kind of set for me to be able to talk in front of for these talking head videos. I realized that my library was in the darkest part of my house. So I moved to my beloved office and was able to kind of set up a book corner for us to chat in every so often. You might recognize some of the maps behind me if you've watched some of my gaming videos. We're here to talk about books today, and I am jazzed to do it. That was weird. I looked up a newbie booktuber tag online and kind of picked and mixed and matched from different channels that I've seen or different videos that I've seen and kind of added some of my own questions to it. If you guys have any questions for me in addition to these, feel free to leave them down below. Subscribe if you haven't already, and let's get to the questions. All right, we are here with our coffee of the day. Look at how cute this mug is. It's one of my favorite parts of Christmas, is to be able to use all my holiday mugs. I have my iPad down here. If I'm looking down, that's why. The first question being, why did you start this channel? So I recently went through a health diagnosis, I guess. I had this channel for a long time, for several years, and I posted mostly gaming videos. And while I love video games and everything that goes along with that, it's a lot of screens. And unfortunately, with my concussion complications that I've had, I haven't been able to focus as much on screens, especially if stuff is moving on said screens. You know, the whole fun of video games. So I haven't been able to play basically any. I think I've played twice in like months, which is really disheartening to me. And with the video game content, I had kind of a creative outlet for myself to be able to connect with you guys. I used to be a Twitch streamer. That was part of what I really loved. And then with getting my full-time job that I have now, it's not creative at all. I have to have that outlet, you know? So I'm very grateful to be able to have rekindled my love for reading, to be able to find a whole lot of new channels and new booktubers to follow, and hopefully some new friends, some new subscribers. That way we can all chat about books and things that we love. The second, what are some fun or unique things you can bring to YouTube? From watching as much booktube as I have, I've realized that a lot of booktubers tend to drift more towards new releases and new flashy fun things, especially ones that are on Book Talk, and I totally get that. However, that's just not me. I don't really gravitate towards new releases as much. I'm definitely a thrifted girl. I love to find a specific author and then really deep dive into their, you know, backlog. I love the library. I love my independent bookstore. I love yard sales. Normally those things don't go with new and flashy releases. So I do a lot of borrowing from the library. I'm planning on doing a bunch of library hauls because I tend to get out a bunch at a time and then have kind of a staggered system of returning them. I also read a little bit of everything. Like, I'm not all romance, or I'm not all thriller, or I'm not all nonfiction, or something along those lines. I tend to read a little bit of everything, maybe not so much nonfiction, unless I'm really in the mood. I hope to be able to bring variety, kind of bring y'all along the journey of whatever I am casually obsessed with at the moment. And then the third question, What are you most excited about for this channel? Being able to find a new community of people to hang out with, people to chat with books about. A lot of people in my personal life don't really read, or they don't read the same kind of books that I do, or they don't read at the same speed that I do, so buddy reads are hard, and you know, things along those lines, book clubs, because I just want to keep reading and keep moving on to the next thing. With this channel, I'm very excited to be able to find people that are reading similar things to me, can recommend new books to me that I can chat about with, and hear books that suck, and hear books that are amazing, and what's your favorite, and you know, what are you looking forward to? The community aspect, I think I'm really excited about. Number 4, why do you love reading? So I love reading because it's a great, this is gonna be a weird thing to say, but it's a great way to pass the time. So I have time blindness, so I'm never good at knowing how long things are gonna take, or how much time has passed doing a task, or you know, any number of things. I tend to hyperfixate on a thing, and then I look up and the day is gone, and I'm like, why is the sun up now? Reading is a fantastic way to get lost in a new story, to get attached to new characters. The same way that movies kind of pull you into a new world, books can do that, but with even more detail and even more storyline and even more emotion involved. Question number 5, what book or series got you into reading? Reading is something that I love to do because growing up, we only were able to watch TV on the weekends, so Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So that left a lot of time after school to kind of occupy yourself. So I really love to read, really love to go to the library. I was a big series girl. So I would say probably what got me into reading initially was the Nancy Drew series, was American Girl, Series of Unfortunate Events. Those were probably my most formative ones. What's gotten me into reading recently was booktube and book talk and bookstagram or whatever. Seeing people really love reading again kind of inspired me a little bit, and it was able to show me that it wasn't just something that like you did because you were on some academic journey to like better yourself. It's like sometimes you just want to have a good time. You know, you just want to sit down and read a romance or read a thriller and get lost in it the same way you would watch a procedural drama on television or a rom-com as a movie. Like, not everything has to be a classic to be prestigious enough to be read. Sometimes you just want to have a good time. It might be 3 stars, but you might have a damn good time reading it, you know? That's what I was trying to grasp. That's what I was trying to hold on to. And so probably what really got me back into reading was I read Priest by Sierra Simone, which showed me that there's definitely a spicy side to these books. That was a surprise. My first 6-star book since getting back into reading was probably The Maidens by Alex Michaelides. That kind of re-inspired my love for thrillers. And then I've just been hooked ever since. I got a Kindle and it was downhill from there. What questions would you ask your favorite booktubers? Probably the difference between how many books they buy and how many books that they're sent, because, you know, being such a library girl, it just blows my mind how much money books can cost and the environmental impact that that can have and yada yada. Not to sound pretentious, it seems like a lot of money, but I understand, you know, investing back into the channel, but it's just being a library girl, being a secondhand thrifted gal, it kills me seeing all these, you know, brand new books, but they are beautiful, gotta say. And another question would probably be, if you didn't have your channel, would you still read as much as you do? Because sometimes if I watch, you know, if I find a new YouTuber that's just pouring through these books, I wonder if they would be pouring through them as much if they weren't doing it for a video. Like, do they really love it, or is it just performative? And I know that might be a cynical question, but it's just being honest, being honest. Next question is, where do you read? So I read all over my house. I have a daybed on my front porch. I read in my bed, daybed in my den. I have a couch in my office. I have this nice comfy leather chair. I have a sun porch. Just wherever I can. I tend to just pick a spot based off of whether my back is feeling okay, because some of my positions, the daybeds are horrible if I'm having a bad back day. I'll need something with a little more structure, like our couch or this leather chair. Makes me sound like I'm 75 years old. Well, I can read wherever I want as long as my back cooperates. Next question is, what kind of books do you like to read? All kinds, really. I think that my favorites are thriller, horror, suspense type books. And then my next favorite would be romance. And then my next favorite would be fantasy. I tend to get a little lost in fantasy books, whether it be like the names are hard to pronounce. I feel like I'm creative, but I really don't have that much of an imagination sometimes. Sometimes I just don't want to think that hard. And a lot of like high fantasy, you have to think so hard and keep track of like 80 million characters, and it's just so much. I haven't really delved into like romantasy much, which I've been told is something that I would really like, but I'm intimidated, okay? And I'm trying to step my feet back into it. I was an Aragon girly like the rest of us. It started and ended there, you know? And so I'm trying my best to get back into it. I really love horror, but like not extreme horror, but just more like suspense books. Suspense, thrillers. I call them spooky books because they might be a mix of like any number of things. So my next question is coffee or tea? It depends on the time of day. I love coffee in the morning and maybe in the mid-afternoon, and then I love tea at night when I'm trying to either chill out or just have something warm to drink. The next question is, what are you currently reading? On my Kindle, What Lies in the Woods. So this one right here by Kate Alice Marshall. And I'm reading it through my library on the Libby app. They have an option to where you can download it to your Kindle, and then I put it in airplane mode so they can't take it away from me. I have 4 on here that I need to read because otherwise the next time I take it off of airplane mode, they're gonna take it away. Next question is, what are you most looking forward to reading on your TBR? So I have 3 that I'm really looking forward to reading sometime soon. Maybe hopefully the Christmas season. So I have them here, I came prepared. So the first, I have The Lost Village by Camilla Sten. This is a library book. This book is basically like film crew goes into scary town where film crew director's family has like a sordid past, a bunch of people died. It's definitely giving me Paranormal Activity, Next of Kin vibes. The next that I got from Book of the Month is called Kingdom of Sweets. This is me trying to get back into fantasy. I figured a Christmassy Nutcracker retelling that's kind of on the spooky side, the creepy side, would be a really good intro to that. And then the romance girly in me, she has to have her time to shine. All I Want for Christmas is a Cowboy by Jessica Clare. I can't. Look at this cover. I'm so excited. My mom was looking at it earlier. She goes, I'm not sure about that one. It says Stevie on it. I'm like, I'll read it first before you borrow it. The next question is your most recent DNF. So my most recent DNF was, I believe, The Pallbearers Club by Paul Tremblay. The main character, man, the whole book is a back and forth between the main character guy whose name I can't even remember, and then Mercy, who is found his manuscript and is writing notes to him. So she'll have like words crossed out or things underlined with notes in the margins, and then she'll write her version of events in like the last 2-3 pages of the chapter. When I say that this main character kid dude was just so insufferable. He was pretentious. He changed, according to Mercy, he changed the story to be like, to where he looked so much better than he actually was. And I don't know if maybe finishing it would have redeemed him a little bit, but I just got so sick of him specifically, not even the story, but just him specifically, that I didn't want to read from his point of view anymore. It was too much. I DNF'd it after 250 pages or something like that, 200 something pages, and it put me into a slump for like a month. Even after reading my last 1-star book, I jumped right into something else to kind of like cleanse the palate. I couldn't even read after this because I was like, this is just too much. Are all books like this? And like, I just spiraled from there. My last question that I have on my list is, which do you prefer? Physical book, ebook, or audiobook? Honestly, I prefer ebooks. I love my Kindle. It's like the easiest thing to carry around, have in bed, pull it out, read a couple pages, put it back. I can read without having to have a bunch of lights on. I love it. What I read the most though is probably physical books because I love to collect them. You don't have to worry about like dropping them or anything like that. Whenever I do read in my house, I'm not a big light girl. I have lamps and fairy lights and any number of things, salt lamps, stuff like this all around my house. So I always have to have my reading light with me, which this one is pretty intense. And so that helps my headaches with my concussion. It's not always easy to carry that thing around because you got your big book and then you got the light sticking out the top and you gotta make sure it's charged and blah, blah, blah. And then when I was driving around hours upon hours a day, going to different restaurants for my job, audiobooks were the way to go. Because once I got home, I didn't want to read. I'm a health inspector, so it's a lot of mentally tasking inspections per day, and so when I come home I don't always like to read, but I can listen to books in the car. It's a little bit more accessible that way. I've never bought an audiobook, so I don't know the process of going through that, but I always use Libby, the library app, because then I can kind of change up the genres. There's no buyer's remorse in that sense. But that is it for my questions. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you all. Feel free to subscribe if you haven't already. Like the video if you liked the video. Feel free to comment down below what your most recent book is, or the dancing girl emoji. Because why not? We're excited here. We're a new booktube channel. For now, we'll see. Whatever the new hyperfixation train takes me to, I will go, and I will hopefully try to bring you guys along with me. Thank you so much for watching. Support your local library, make good choices, and happy reading.